We'll now move on to consider how to set a take profit level after the trade has been placed with no original take profit level set. So here we have a different trade. We've closed out of the one that we're working on down, and this particular trade, as you can see, has no take profit level set on it. Here's our market entry line shown on the chart. So to set a take profit level, we simply double click on the order, and again, as with changing the take profit level, we need to alter the execution type from instant execution to modify order. Again, some of the boxes are then greyed out, and we want to set our take profit level. Now, as indicated here, our market entry level was 1.56974, and let's say that we want to set a take profit level of 5 pips, so we would set it at 1.56924. So we simply enter that value into the take profit box and left click on the modify button, and it then installs our take profit level. And when we click on OK, we're taken back to the chart, and you can see that we now have a take profit line indicated on the chart, and it's also shown in the box below. And we now come to the section where we're going to look at how we remove a take profit order completely. And we may do this, for example, if our trade has already moved into profit and it looks to be gaining momentum and it's approaching our take profit level. We may decide that we want to take off the automatic closure of the trade and to monitor it carefully and to close it manually at some higher profit level. So here we have an order with our take profit level set that we want to remove. So let's double click on the order, and again it's a modifier of an order. So what we need to do is to change our take profit from 1.56920 down to 0. So we need to manually change by backspacing from the right hand 0, and then we simply click the modify button, and we see that the take profit level is set to 0 or removed. Another useful system tool for ensuring that trades are closed down for a profit is by the use of trailing stop orders, and trailing stops are extremely useful. If you're in a trade which is in profit and it's increasing, but you want to automatically exit it if the price direction changes and our profit starts to fall, then installing a trailing stop can be extremely useful. So imagine we have a buy trade in place and the market is following this particular pattern. So our trade is already in profit and we decide to put a trailing stop in place at this point. What will happen then is that our trailing stop will kick in at the appropriate gap below. Let's say it's a 15-point trailing stop. So our trailing stop will kick in, and it will follow the pattern of the trade so long as it continues to move in an upward direction, and it will continue to maintain that 15-point gap. Once it reaches the point at which the trade starts to turn towards us, however, the trading stop locks in, ratchets in, and if the market crosses that line, the trade will be closed for the profit. If, however, the market hadn't continued past the trailing stop, it hadn't reached the trailing stop, but instead turned and decided to go with us again, the point at which the 15-point trailing stop gap was crossed, the trailing stop will then also continue to rise and continue to follow our trade upwards. You can control the level of profit at which a trailing stop would kick in, and also how far you're prepared to see the profit fall before the order is closed. So that is, If you're prepared to see it move back by 5 pips, you'd set a 5 pip trailing stop. If you're prepared to see it fall back by 10 pips, then you'd set a 10 pip trailing stop. And also the trailing stop orders can be adjusted or even removed completely once they've been placed. So let's have a look now at a video of how you can actually set a trailing stop order. So to enter our trailing stop, let's have a look at this trade. We have a trade here which is 9 points in profit, but we think it may continue to fall further and generate more profits for us, but we don't want to risk giving it all back, so let's put a trailing stop on. So we highlight the order in question, right click and look at trailing stop, and there are some pre-selected levels for your trailing stop. 15 points is actually 1.5 pips. 215 points is actually 21.5 pips. So let's select a custom value. The default here is 15, which is actually 1.5 pips. So let's select 2 pips for this example. So we enter 20 and OK. Now what we'll see now is the trade did fall further, and it's placed our trailing stop in 2 pips behind. Now as the trade falls further, we'll see that the trailing stop goes down further as well, but as the trade starts to retract, the trailing stop stays in its position. As you can see, it's following the order down, but it will never go any further back. The trailing stop position is indicated here. It's actually indicated as a stop loss order rather than a take profit order, because it is actually a trailing stop, and that gives you the level which it currently is at, and as the trade becomes more advantageous to us and falls further, you will see that that number will also move. However, as the trade's going back towards the trailing stop, you can see that it holds its level, and if the trade falls back further, it will close the order when it reaches the level of that trailing stop. So we'll just run this trade for a few moments and see whether it does take it out. But while we're doing that, let's have a look at how we can amend or remove the trailing stop. Firstly, you right click on the order again, highlight trailing stop, and you can delete all. So let's see what happens when we delete all. It ceases to trail. As you can see, the stop loss stays in position, but it doesn't follow the order in its search for more profits. So let's put it on again. Trailing stop, custom. In fact, let's leave it at 15. And in fact, you can see that the order has actually been closed out because it's hit the level of the stop loss and we've locked in our profit. We've now looked at the various mechanisms which are available to us to take a profit from our trades. What we now need to look at is the opposite side of the coin, and that's a stop loss order. As we mentioned earlier, forex trading and spread betting is very high risk, and to ensure good money management and good practice, it's important that you consider cutting your losses when trades go against you, and believe me, from time to time they will. So what we're going to do now is to have a look at how to place a stop loss order. And a stop loss order is an instruction which will close an open order in the event that it loses a specific number of pips. And just like take profit orders, stop loss orders can be applied to either buy or sell trades, and they can be done either at the time of placing the order or later on after the order has been placed. They can also be cancelled at any time. Stop loss orders are not often used by Raven Glen because we use a different mechanism which we'll go into later, but we do recognise that stop loss orders are appropriate in certain circumstances, and it's very important that you understand how to use them and when to use them. Now, stop loss orders shouldn't be placed too close to the opening price of the order, because prices in the forex market do fluctuate significantly, and very often after you place a trade it will move against you, sometimes only by a small number of pips. But it's important that you do give the trade enough room to retrace slightly before it goes on to make a profit. Now, just how close is a matter of personal judgment, and we will be going into that in some of the later modules. Additionally, we will tell you about the alternative method that we use at Raven Glen that can be used as an alternative for a stop loss order in certain circumstances. So let's have a look now at how we can actually set the stop loss orders when we open a trade, how we can set a stop loss order applicable to a trade that's already open, and how we can amend stop loss orders at a later time. So let's first look at how we place a stop loss when we first open an order. So we open our order, and again taking care of the usual items, our stop loss can be implemented here. We simply click on the one of the arrows. Our current price is 1.56799, 1.568. So let's say we want to put a stop loss 20 pips away. If we're going to make a sell trade, then we obviously want our stop loss to be above that. So let's put it 20 pips above. We set it at 1.5699, which is approximately 20 pips away. So hit the sell button, and here we have our sell trade. So hopefully it's going to go down, but if it goes against us, our stop loss is indicated by the red dotted line above it. Now if we want to change that, okay, we simply double click on the trade, and we change from instant execution to modify order, and you can see now our stop loss can be modified. We can take it further away, or we can even move it closer. So let's bring it down so it's closer. Our opening price is 1.5680. Let's take it down to 1.5690, and we'll see our stop loss line has become closer to our sell trade. Alternatively, we can take the stop loss off completely, opening up our trade. Once again, into modify order, and in our stop loss box we simply backspace all the way, hit enter, and as you can see we now have no stop loss in place at all on this trade. So in effect now this sell trade is equivalent to a new order with no stop losses in place at all. So if we want to put one back on, as you can see, currently no stop loss. Select modify order, and we can set our stop loss accordingly by typing in the figure here. Alternatively, we can set it for 200 points, or as we saw before, 20 pips away, by clicking on that copy as, and it will copy the figure from that box into our stop loss box, and we simply hit modify, and our stop loss is set to 1.57027, as you can see indicated on here, and it's also shown in the panel below. So just to remind you, stop loss orders are there to prevent you losing too much money when a trade goes against you, and to promote good money management. So with the sections covered in this module, you should be able to answer the following questions. Firstly, how many pips does the figure 0.00350 represent? Secondly, what percentage of an account's equity should you use to calculate the overall bet size or the bet volume? Thirdly, can a take profit order be modified after it's been placed? And finally, Is it better to use pips or pounds to monitor the profit or loss on an open trade? If you can't answer any of these questions, then you should go back to the appropriate section and review it.